We are live, Bobby. What's up?
I'm here. How's it going, buddy?
I don't know. I feel weird calling you Bobby when Brian's here, but I'm calling you Bobby. But then again, nobody knows who Brian is.
And nobody really cares who Brian is. I mean, let's just be honest
Uh,
with ourselves. I really don't care who Brian is, but we'll do it. Let's go for it.
all right. Uncle Lou's in the chat. He says no, whatever that means. Um, Missed you last week. You're on vacation.
I was out on the beach, just tanning, getting sexier than ever. Well, I mean, let's be truthful. I was out there with more sunscreen than one human being should have, because I'm pasty white, and I would have probably ended up in the emergency room. So, yeah,
You don't look burned for being at the beach for a week.
exactly, because I had more sunscreen on than one human being should actually have. But I missed you last week. I missed you, man. I missed you. How about? I mean, we had the game. I know it wasn't much of a game, but it was Citadel and blah 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 blah. But it was. I did miss talking about the game last week.
Yeah, Citadel. At least we got that out of the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just more worried about the Citadel, somebody getting coronavirus because of that game, and that would have ruined part of the season for no reason. There's no reason Clemson should be playing Citadel this year.
Nah.
They did it.
Yeah, they did it.
Everyone got out healthy. So all things considered, everything went okay.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I would tell you this. I don't know if we're going to dive. Do you want to wait to dive into the game until a few people gets in here?
Let's see who we got in here. Clemson Carson, saw Uncle Lou. Neo, Aaron Shorts in the house. RMF Tide is here. Yeah. We can go ahead and get into it.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you watched Seinfeld. I was a very, very big, and still am a very big Seinfeld fan. So George Costanza's dad, played by the great Jerry Stiller. Remember, he had Festivus for the Rest of Us, and part of Festivus for the Rest of Us, he had the airing of the grievances. And so I'm going to have my airing of the grievances of the Clemson game against all respect to Citadel and their team and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to have my airing of the grievances with Citadel. Do we really have to run, most likely, the number one pick in the draft against that team for the first, two touchdowns or first of the 2 or 3 touchdowns? Especially the one when he ran towards the hill and he got bent backwards by 2 players. When that happened, I really don't take to Twitter that much. I went to Twitter and went, there will be absolutely no apology, no words to explain away if he gets hurt during that moment against the flipping Citadel. My God, we had 49 points at halftime. Dabo more than called off the dogs. We all know it. There's no reason to be running Trevor Lawrence. I know that a lot of people on here, and I'm about to shut up with my grievance here, but I know that there's a lot of people who would go, well, who are you because you're not coaching this team? Look, these coaches, though I appreciate our coaching staff, I love them, they're great, they're still human beings. And human beings make dumb decisions. And then they look back, which is 2020 vision, and they realize what a dumb decision that was. So if there's anything that I would like to see, is for them to stop running Trevor Lawrence. Running Trevor Lawrence in the Fiesta Bowl to burn Ohio State, wonderful decision. Jeff Hafley said, we didn't know what hit us when he started running on us. We didn't know what his words was, it was like chum in the water. Okay, that's great. Running against Citadel, don't have to do it to beat them. Please, for the love of God, keep Trevor Lawrence healthy and not run him when he doesn't have to run. Okay, I'm done.
I understand what you're saying. And I used to have this the same feeling that you did. Here's the thing, though. I give them kudos. They're going to run the offense the way that they're going to run it, whether it's against the Citadel or whoever it is they play. It doesn't matter. They're going to run the Clemson offense. And I've just come to grips with the Dabo Swinney-led offense is going to run their quarterback no matter what. At least now in this game, obviously it's a different story. It was a Citadel, but at least 20 times a game, not 20. I saw a $20 donation from Richard Williams. At least 10 times a game against a normal team. Trevor Lawrence is going to carry the ball 8 to 10 times on average. And then against the Citadel, well, he played for a half, so he probably ran the ball half that many times, 4 times, whatever. I've come to grips with it. You're right, though. Trevor Lawrence gets hurt on a designed run against the Citadel. There's going to be a lot of people very unhappy about that. But he can get hurt in a lot of other ways, too, not just running the ball.
Sure. Richard Williams is obviously buying dinner tonight. Yes. He said he had a really good poker day. Well, congrats, Richard.
Yeah, he showed up on the Lunch Money show today with me and Uncle Lou. Thank you, sir. I know him very well. He's a personal family friend. Actually, he's family.
Yeah, he is family. He is family.
But he plays poker like 4 nights a week. So I told him he has to keep winning money, support my habit here.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad he's in here. Richard, it's good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you.
So anything else about the Clemson game? Nothing really. Travis Etienne carried the ball like what? I don't even know how many. 6 times.
Eight times, I want to say, for like 68 yards, a little over 8 per carry. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I was really, really happy to see this past week. I know it's Citadel, but I have been wondering for a very, very long time where the crap did all the ability, did all the finesse and the incredibleness of Frank Ladson, where the crap did it go? I mean, this is a massive human being, 5-star out of Florida. We've done very well with 5 stars out of Florida. Okay?
Joe, the FSU fan. I'm reading the chat.
So the point there, the point here is, though it was against the Citadel, to see Frank Ladson catch 2 touchdowns, especially the first touchdown, I don't care who you're playing, that even though Trevor put the ball in there perfect, I mean, it just shows the great player that he is. The wide receiver has to really focus, because the Citadel player actually had really good defense on that. I mean, he really defended that first touchdown with Ladson catching it very, very well. It was just –
How about that?
Yeah, the throw was amazing.
The one to Amari Rodgers, too.
I mean, he caught the pass. He possessed it, had 2 touchdowns. We need Frank Ladson. We know Ngata is going to show up. We need Frank Ladson getting involved. I was very happy to see him, even though Citadel, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a breakout game.
And his Miles Murphy is just like, oh my God.
Him and Brzee both. But Miles Murphy, he's played a total now of what? Because he didn't even play all of the first game either. He maybe played a total of 4 quarters.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. He's got 5 sacks. And people are going to be, oh, yeah, 5 sacks, Citadel, Wake Forest. I don't care. He's a true freshman. Show me another defensive end that's getting 5 sacks in 4 quarters out there in the country.
And the very same people who saying that crap to you about who's Wake Forest today, they would sell their children to have Miles Murphy come play for them.
Of course they would. Anybody in the country would want Miles Murphy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wake Forest, that game's canceled this weekend. The almighty Fighting Irish. We're going to travel down to Winston-Salem there. And so I guess this is a Notre Dame problem, not a Wake Forest problem. 7 players tested positive, and because of this contract tracing rule that they have, obviously anybody who's come in contact with those 7 players has to be quarantined as well. I think it's over 20 players is what they're saying.
Yeah.
So the game this week is canceled, and it's possible that next week's game could be canceled. Now, this could be a problem. So I went to Twitter as soon as I found this out. I went right on Twitter and said, there's no need to reschedule this game. I don't think that they will. Wake Forest is an insignificant game for the playoff picture, especially for Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's playoff chances hinge on Clemson, and that's pretty much it. Now, if they go out and lose a game to an inferior team, one of these other ACC teams, that'll hurt them too. But as far as winning their way into the playoffs, they're going to have to beat Clemson. If they play them twice, they're going to have to beat them at least once to be considered. In their mind, preferably in the ACC championship game. But even if they lost their regular season game, well, I'm sorry, the other way around. Even if they won the regular season game, but still lost the ACC championship game, at least they would say they would have a win against Clemson somewhere under their belt. Now, I don't think any of that's going to happen anyway. I think Clemson's going to beat them both times. But I was highly impressed with Notre Dame this past Saturday. Now, I know they beat up on a bad team, but that's what they did. They beat them up bad.
I expected more from a Jeff Scott led team. I know this is his first season. I know that he's got all this stuff that's going on in the background with everything that's going on. But I honestly felt like that this team could run a little, at least a little better, throw a touchdown, hit a field goal by luck against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame did. I mean, my God, they really lowered the beam on those guys. And so Notre Dame looking a little better. It's interesting to watch their running back situation right now because they're really high on that freshman. I forgot his name. I can see him. But then that other cat came in and rushed for 127, and I mean it looked really really solid, especially when you think that Fink and Claypool are gone. I mean Claypool was a bad man. I mean I don't care if he's playing at Notre Dame. I don't care if he's playing at Bama, Georgia, Clemson, fill in the blank. Claypool is I mean that was a big loss for them, but yeah, the season's going to get tougher for them, especially when they play the orange and white.
Ian Book looks good too. They have a really good squad this year. This might be the best squad that Brian Kelly has had there. I don't know if you heard the remarks, and I know coaches say stuff like this, but Jeff Scott after the game said it was like playing against Clemson, but they had gold helmets on instead of orange. That's a high praise compliment coming from him. And
he should know because he was part of the greatness that's went on there. And in the Clemson community, for anybody who's watching this show right now, maybe watching it later, Jeff Scott is highly respected in the Clemson community. To lose Jeff Scott was a big deal for us. That's how much respect we have for him. So for him to say that's a big deal.
Yeah. Luckily, we have Elliott. You know, they were co-coordinators, so we didn't. Yeah. You know, it's not a replace situation. But Joe, the FSU fan, wants to know how many games do y'all think FSU is winning this year? Or he's asking the chat. Well, I'm going to answer it for you because I talked about this morning with Uncle Lou. We went through a Florida State schedule, and we have a hard time finding 2 wins on it. And one of them is against Jacksonville State. They'll be underdogs. I think they'll be underdogs in virtually every game that they play this year, except for maybe the last game of the year. And this is too far away to predict who's going to be a favorite because Duke's, quite frankly, doesn't look that great either. But I think outside of Duke, maybe that game's in Duke though. I don't see. I mean, a Pitt would be a favorite against them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't have their schedule pulled up. We went through it today. I had a hard time finding 2 wins on that thing.
And you know what? In Florida State, my God, I just you look at the players who's on their team. Florida State still has talent. Florida State still has talent. What happened? I mean, truly, what happened? There comes a point to when you're paying guys $1 million a year to coach guys throwing a ball around to come in and coach a team with just decent amount of talent. In the ACC, you should be able to win 6-7 games at least. Florida State is pissing this away.
I'm not sure how much talent they. I mean, I used to say that too. Well, they're still talented. It's just coaching. They're still talented. It's just I'm looking at that team now. What's that defensive back's name? He's a really good player.
Are you talking about that? Are you talking about the D lineman Marvin Wilson or?
Well, him too. But I'm talking about the
Asante Samuels Jr.
Yes, so he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a. But I just don't know, man.
As far as what happened to them, that thing blew up. It's just like driving a car off a cliff. Going from where that they were 3 years ago. Hell, they won a national championship in 2013.
Yeah.
They were back in the playoffs in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Steady. I mean, they still were winning 10 games in 2015, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wheels just fell off, and they haven't been able to regain their balance. Now, I don't think Willie Taggart helped the situation much there. He didn't know what he was doing.
Horrible hire.
But at this point now, a lot of the players of Jimbo's players are not there anymore. And they haven't been recruiting. I mean, they haven't been terrible recruiting, but they haven't been recruiting like they normally do, over the past 30 years.
Mhm.
The talent level is going down too, and the quarterback play is awful. I mean, I feel sorry for James Blackman because of the situation he's been put in throughout his entire career there, but he's not there. He's not very good. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, Francois, we know what went on with him. They had that other kid that he smacked a woman in a bar or something, and he was a highly recruited player. And here's the deal: running a program dirty, you might get away with it 3, 4, 5 years. You're not going to get away with it for several years. It will catch up with you. Somebody's going to get drunk at a party and say something. Somebody's going to get caught in this day and age on a car phone, or car phone. What is wrong with me? It's a long day. Cell phone. Somebody's going to take a video. Somebody's going to take a video of you doing something stupid. You're going to get caught for it. Florida State has been living off of borrowed time it's especially with the conduct of their players for a very long time. They've been living on borrowed time, and they finally started getting caught left and right. Fisher, I know someone very, very well. And when I say very well, a family member of mine who has been around Fisher, who was around Fisher when he was under old man Bowden. And the one thing that they told me about Fisher is he's not a very ethical guy. And I'll leave it at that. And it caught up with him. We saw what happened. I know your rant about him. It's always, that's one of your greatest rants you ever had. I thought you were going to have a heart attack.
I wrote that.
You did. I think you had a slight stroke. But the point about it is it caught up with him. I've never seen a coach who won a national championship get into an argument 2 years later with a fan sitting in the stands at the tunnel. Now, I'm a human being. I've done some stupid stuff in my life, and I'm not trying to put these guys on pedestals that they're a coach and they shouldn't have. I'm not going to do that. That's bullcrap. But I will say that I can't really think of a modern day coach who's won a national championship within a few years and gets into it with a fan in the stands.
Mm.
And Fisher did the year that he left. So there was a bunch of stuff going on there. James Black, I hope I didn't know the guy had this much eligibility, but anyway.
Yeah, he's like a 9th year senior or something. Real quick, definition 409. I forgot to mention the super chat you sent, and also C&M Ventures. Thank you, sir. He didn't leave a note with that, but thank you. This comment that's on the screen right now. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. He's right. Luke Walker's right. He says Florida State still has top 25 talent if you look at their recruiting. That's the problem. They were top 5 talent for 30 years. Now we're talking about they have top 25 talent. That's everything you need to know right there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they're a hot mess. I don't know. And like I was telling Lou this morning, it's fun to make fun of Florida State because we're Clemson. We have a rivalry with them, in division rivalry. Mm-hmm. But they're so bad that it's not even fun anymore. It's just like you can't even get excited about the game anymore. So how many are we going to win by? Is it going to be 50 or 60 this time? There's really no shot of any kind of competitive game when they meet up. Now maybe that'll change. They need to give Mike Norvell some time and stay out of his way. Mm-hmm. It's so broken there. It's going to take him time to fix it. More than 2 years. That's what they gave Taggart, right? 2 years.
They didn't even give him a full 2 years. They fired him in year 2.
Yeah,
in the middle of 2. And here's the thing. I know that you were critical of it. I was extremely critical of it. Like, guys, hey, it was just South Florida. Then he was up at Oregon, where they have more money than God being pumped into a program, and he just went 6-6. And you're trying to lure him back to Florida State, following up with, forget our comments about Fisher at that time, the man. You're having to follow him up, and that's very difficult to do. God bless and have grace on whoever follows up Dabo Swinney. Unless Swinney gets caught, I don't know, nosing around in the middle school girls' locker room. He's going to leave with such great accolades. And that's going to be tough. But to go out and make a hire that everybody's going, why? It just doesn't make sense. And then to turn around and fire the guy in the middle of year 2, How about this? How about you stick with your poor decision? That was unfair to do to Taggart. Taggart deserved it to a point, but they hired him.
He should have never been hired.
I agree with you.
And I don't feel sorry for him because he ended up making over $20 million in those 2 years.
Of course. But what I'm saying is the athletic department, and I talk about this all the time. You've talked about it all the time. Others have talked about this all the time. These guys with 15 degrees, and I know that's an exaggeration, but they're very happy to throw PhD at the end of their name and their signature of their emails. Go out and make the dumbest decision, shovel donors' monies away. Like, I mean, just like, here's $1, here's $2. And they go and they hire people who are unqualified for the job. And then they fire them and make them look bad in front of God and everybody and their kids. This is ridiculous. It's dumb. It's stupid. But I agree with you. Norvell needs to be given some time to clean up this mess because, heck, he even lost his team 2 months ago because they didn't feel like he did whatever. And I'm sitting there going, does he even have his team right now? Does he need 2 or 3 seasons to go by to get some of these players out, to get the players in who actually respect him and appreciate him?
Well, there's players on that team, upperclassmen, that have played for 3 different coaches now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he needs to get, they throw that term around all the time. You need to get our guys in there. Well, he this is true for him. He needs to get guys in there. That's not going to happen overnight. Saw our buddy Carolina Jackpot in the chat a minute ago.
Really? He stumbled in. What's up, dude?
Yeah, so of course they have the big matchup. This is the game I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
Yeah.
Tennessee and South Carolina. I'm probably going to stream that game live. I think I am. I don't know what time it comes on. I think it's a night game. But so aside from that game itself, South Carolina is in the news today. I guess they had a transfer that got denied a waiver to start this year. And Jackpot actually posted a video on YouTube today about it. And I got to say, I agree with him. This is silly. In a year where it seems like they're granting everybody waivers for anything, why does this guy not get to play? And you know what the problem with well, there's a lot of problems with the NCAA, but they don't tell you why. It's either just, okay, we grant it or we don't. There's no explanation. They need to give explanations. I think they need to start being more transparent in their explanations for things.
NCAA has always. Let's go back to the North Carolina basketball deal, and I could stop there. The NCAA showed us in that moment exactly how serious they are about the student athlete, about following rules, implementing rules, ethics. Just keep rolling it out. The NCAA showed us it doesn't matter. I mean, forget sports. We don't care. We truly don't give a rat's rear end. But I agree with you. They've got to be more transparent. The NCAA has got to be more for the student athlete, and they need to. We've talked about this before. They need to loosen up on waivers, and they have. So that was really surprised. I didn't dive into it, but I did see that kind of come across my phone. I was like, I wonder. I mean, that's a big deal because man, they're letting anybody transfer for anything. I mean, heck, you and I could opt out for this season if we wanted to, and we're not even playing for a team.
I'm not even saying they should loosen up. I don't want free agency like the NFL or anything. I don't want people just transferring all around year after year and after year. There's got to be some sort of rules, but we don't know what the rules are. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, we'll let this guy through. We won't let this guy through. No reason. I mean, nobody knows why. Big Ed says the NCAA is full of hacks. It is. Sorry I couldn't entertain you enough, Daniel Wade. See you, buddy. Saw Tiger Nation here. Jordan Bowman's in here. Luke Walker, you trying to start a Carolina debate, aren't you? No, we won't do that here. We would never do that on this channel, would we, Bobby?
I have never and never will.
So the South Carolina-Tennessee game, looking at the odds on that, Tennessee was favored by 3.5 points, which to me, I'm not surprised that Tennessee's favored. I think Tennessee's better. I think Tennessee's going to win the game. But for Tennessee to only be favored by 3.5 points, that tells you because Las Vegas is not biased. They could care less about people's fandom or anything else. For them to only be favored by that much tells me that they're not thinking very highly of Tennessee. What do you think?
This game has always been an interesting one over the past probably 10 years, especially, give or take a year, especially when South Carolina was supposedly good. Those amazing years when they reached the pinnacle of college football, also known to the rest of us as the Capital One Bowl. Tennessee would beat them, and then South Carolina would beat them when they weren't supposed to beat them. And I was telling you before the opening of the show that I'm bookend in this game. So my father-in-law is a huge South Carolina fan. My brother-in-law graduated UT, and I told them that I would come over and sarcastically mediate this game because we're off this weekend. I'm surprised that Tennessee is only favored by 3 points. I would think that there would be at least a touchdown favorite in this game. I don't buy South Carolina. I was surprised that South Carolina is starting this kid that's a transfer. I know he's got a relationship with Bobo. But, a year ago, we were having to hear about Ryan Hilinski. If we can just get this Jake Bentley guy out of the way, we're sick and tired of him, and we're just get rid of him, and we know what happened. He's gone and everything. Hilinski comes in. Hilinski's a talented guy. He was served up a plate of crap. And he's like, go make a filet out of this. This is great. And then you replace Hilinski, your Lord and Savior, with this guy that we're all sitting here going, yeah, he's got a lot of hair. What else?
Apparently he's torn the same ACL 3 times already at Colorado State. And he's going to be running for his life back there against SEC defensive lines. This is not a good idea.
No. You obviously don't like the guy. If you're a South Carolina coach, you just want to finish the sucker off, put him in a wheelchair. But I was shocked when I saw that. But for them to still only be 3 points, how much do you think that deals with Garantano, or how much do you think that deals with them having to miss so much practice and so much interaction because they had to quarantine a bunch of players?
Honestly, I feel like they think these are two decent defensive teams and 2 bad offensive teams, and it's just going to be so low scoring that no one's going to get blown out. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah.
Garantano, he's no Trevor Lawrence, but I think he's better than this Colin Hill kid. And
well, he definitely knows the system because he's been there forever.
Well, so here's the other thing about this. The offensive coordinator for South Carolina, Mike Bobo, he's been a coach at Colorado State. He brought him from Colorado State with him. That's the reason he's there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So he does know Mike Bobo's offense. That's what I was trying to say there. But still, I don't even know. And this isn't a knock at South Carolina, but even some of these other teams, like I know who Chuba Hubbard is. You pick out most of these teams, and I could tell you a star player on it. I don't know who's a star player on South Carolina's team.
Mm-mm.
Do you?
No. Couldn't name you one.
Somebody in the chat say, well, what about so-and-so? I'm like, okay, well, does everybody in the country know who that is? Or do you just know who he is because he plays for your team?
Yeah. You knew about Kinlaw last year. You couldn't help but know about Kinlaw.
Right.
That was
first round draft pick, wasn't he?
Yeah. When you see a guy like him play.
Brian Edwards was another one. He's in the NFL now.
Brian Edwards. But it's like now, who do you have to really pick from? It's that's why I was surprised Hilinski didn't get the nod. I was really, really surprised. And unless there's something going on with him that we don't know about, I'm just absolutely shocked. But if this guy starts failing even a little bit, Hilinski's your man. I know that you and I could care less if I go down there and soak Williams-Brice and lighter fluid and set a match to it. But just for talking about football, it just it makes sense, man. This does not make sense. I don't care if he did come with Bobo. Hilinski is Hilinski. Hilinski, I'll guarantee you, is a better football player than this guy. I'll guarantee it. And if I'm him, I am pissed right now. Going, what are y'all doing? what are y'all doing? But anyway, I mean, if that's just South Carolina football to me. I mean, just making dumb decisions. And Muschamp's going nowhere. Muschamp could lose every darn game this season, and he has everything that's going on right now to give him a cushion. He's going nowhere, so Muschamp train's going to keep going.
This is an important game for both these teams too.
It is.
Tennessee has such high hopes, and they're headed in the right direction and all that. You can't go out week 1 and lose to South Carolina. And then on the flip side of that, I am under the impression or of the opinion that Will Muschamp's on the hot seat, even during a pandemic year.
Do you think they would fire him this season?
What if they go 2-8 or 1-9? I think they would fire him. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but so he would have had more losing seasons at South Carolina than winning seasons if that was the case.
And then the question is, who's really knocking down the door to become the head coach at South Carolina?
Well, see, this is the age-old debate. Who wants to coach at South Carolina? It's an SEC team in the hottest recruiting bed in the country, with the Southeast anyway. I mean, look at Clemson doesn't have any problem recruiting. Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama. So I think that they can get a better coach. I've always been of the opinion that they can. Now, if you look at what was it, Will Muschamp like the 4th or 5th choice for them? So maybe I'm wrong. maybe they can find anybody. But here's the problem, man. They always try to go out and get the big name, the recycled coach, with whoever the speech impediment man from
Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz.
They did it with Lou Holtz. Then they did it with Spurrier. And Spurrier.
Speech impediment. Speech impediment. That's awesome.
Then they did it with Spurrier, and of course that worked for a while, but then it didn't. And then they went out and get Will Muschamp, who already had proven that he wasn't very good at Florida, and Florida was more talented than South Carolina was. So what makes you think that he's going to do something at South Carolina that he couldn't do at Florida? They need to go out and get a coach like who's this guy at Cincinnati? Fickle.
I think that's his name.
They don't need to be going after the big names.
Yeah.
Go get a Fickle or somebody else, somebody from a Group of 5 team, or even maybe an FCS coach or whatever. It's good. A young person too, a person that's not, doesn't have the baggage that some of these other coaches have.
Right.
That would be what I would do.
I mean, look at Florida State. We're just talking about them. Look who they went and got. I mean, this is a team that still has the ability to go out and get some massive name, and they got Mike Norvell. That's the thing with South Carolina is they need to find somebody who would truly be excited about coming there, but it has to make sense. And that goes back to my rant just a second ago upon 5,000 rants I've had about administration, because administration wants to prove that we are the final say. It's the arrogance and it is the pride that says, I am Dr. So-and-so and I'm smarter than you, and I have this experience, and I have this intelligence, and I have this blah, 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 blah. And we're like, dude, we don't care. All we care is that you make a good hire, and you didn't. And that's the thing. If I'm a South Carolina administrator, and Muschamp is gone, I look and I say, guys, first of all, let's throw away our criteria for hiring a coach because it hasn't worked. Let's find somebody who makes sense, who's excited about being here, and who has 20 to 30 years more left in not only coaching but their life. And they're not worn out. Because like you said, Spurrier was owning things, and all of a sudden it fell off. And you can't tell me a good reason why that man just up and quit in the middle of a season, other than if his wife had some disease I don't know about. If that was the case, okay, I get it. But other than that, or a child falling ill and he just couldn't mentally and emotionally take it, what he did was he quit on you because he couldn't take it anymore. And South Carolina fans will turn red in the face and go, it's like, no, dude, history tells the truth, my friend. And so you need to make a hire with somebody who is, like you said, Forget the baggage. They're excited about being there, and they will do anything to make sure that your team is at least competitive.
Yeah, that's why I say go get a group of 5 guy, make it his first Power 5 job. He'll be excited about it. I'm surprised that Luke Fickell doesn't have a job yet, quite frankly. How long has he been at Cincinnati?
I don't know. Is it 3 years, 4 years?
I mean, they're beating. I mean, they're competing with Power 5 teams, or even beating some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll be in there much longer.
So I want to ask you this, and this was something I talked about over this couple of weeks ago. When I was gone, we didn't get to talk about it. So, Iowa State lost a game that they far from should have lost. Are we finally off the Matt Campbell train? I want to ask you that. I'm not saying that you were on it. I'm just saying, how the media was just always talking about Matt Campbell, Matt Campbell. I know it's Iowa State, but I'm just saying Matt Campbell, you can't get away from it, and he loses that opening game to a horrible team. What do you think?
This is what Iowa State does, though, on a yearly basis. This isn't new. So he is who he is. Now, does Iowa State, they're just inconsistent. So they'll do what they did last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And then they'll go out and beat a whatever. Somebody else in the Big 12 who's good, a Texas or something, whatever. I mean, like it happened remember last year, Kansas State wasn't very good, but they beat Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
That's Iowa State sort of the same way. I mean, that's another situation like the South Carolina thing. Who are you going to get that's better at Iowa State?
Maybe South Carolina could make a deal. You give us your coach, we'll give you our coach.
A trade?
Yeah, we'll do a trade. We'll do a trade. He'll even get the house on the island that Muschamp has, and we'll just do this thing, okay? And we'll just see how it goes. Although I would say that I would imagine that Matt Campbell could not do worse at South Carolina. So,
Luke, no offense, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. He says, Pigskin Pete, it's all fun and games until Scott Satterfield is Mac Brown's successor. Is that a lateral move?
Yes.
I mean, let's be real here. Louisville's been more successful than North Carolina in the ACC since they joined it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they had that 1-2-win year, but the Lamar Jackson years, they were a top 15 team.
Yeah. I mean, unless North Carolina really tears it up over the next year or two, it's a lateral move.
Now we'll see. I mean, Mac Brown could build that thing into something that is, better program than Louisville. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. And he says that he's from Chapel Hill. Okay, so I guess that would make sense because it's sort of like going home.
Yeah.
Something. And of course, he did coach at App State, so he's familiar with the state of North Carolina. So maybe, I don't know. Some of these other games, Bobby. Georgia and Arkansas.
If we want to talk about Georgia and Arkansas, right after that, I'd like to talk about how I'm going to play my 4-year-old in a game of pickup basketball on Saturday.
Okay.
I will beat him, and Georgia will beat them.
The only thing that's interesting about this game is who is Georgia going to trot out there at quarterback. I was just listening before we came on the air to Kirby Smart say, I guess JT Daniels is just now, or he's expected to be by the end of the week cleared for contact. So he hasn't been all summer and all fall. So I'm assuming he's not playing in this game. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Who's that other cat that they were really high on? Not the kid who transferred out from there and then transferred back. Who's that other kid? I keep hearing a name about a Georgia quarterback. It's this other kid. And sorry, I don't keep up with him. Everybody who's watching this.
I forget them. I forget who it is too.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes. Somebody in the chat.
I have heard a few people say if anybody else trots out there other than him, since Newman's gone, he's done, we're going to lose our mind.
Well, Clemson Carson says DeJuan Mathis. I don't think that's who you're talking about. DeJuan Mathis is the guy. Last year, he had some sort of brain cyst or something. He had brain surgery, and so I think he's a favorite there amongst the fans because of the story. I mean, you have brain surgery 1 year, and then you're possibly starting for the Georgia Bulldogs the next season. That would be a good story, good feel good story. Stetson Bennett, that's who I'm thinking of.
You're thinking about Stetson, and Stetson Bennett was the guy who signed at Georgia, transferred out, and then come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. That whole Newman thing kind of threw me. That totally threw me, and I'm not sold on JT Daniels. I know the guy now. If he would have been running the system this entire, however long it was, and he'd have come out there and really, really showed out, okay, I could kind of buy it. But that he was not. Ask Navy, which, by the way, congrats to Navy on one of the biggest comebacks I've seen in quite a while. You were getting owned, and you come back and won. Congrats to you. But go back to that game. Navy played against BYU. Man, they hadn't really engaged in contact drills. And man, they played BYU and got contacted and got beaten to the ground. Contact in football, folks, means something. And so I just don't see you trotting out a quarterback, even though he's a quarterback, without any contact and him being okay. But,
Losing here saying they're going to start DeJuan Mathis, he thinks. I was just listening. Who said that? Jordan Bowman said he's not cleared to play. No, so I just listened to Kirby say 5 minutes before he came on air that he's cleared for contact or is expected to be cleared for contact by the game this Saturday, and that he will be available to play if needed be. I don't think they're going to start him, but technically they could play him if they wanted to.
And I see in the chat, Lou was saying Stetson Bennett is a trash can. Not just Lou. I have heard that opinion from several people. I have not only heard that from a playability, I've heard that there's a ton of Georgia fans who's like, what the crap, dude? You signed with us. You got your feelings hurt. You didn't start. You left. There is a major question, and it should be, rightfully so, questioning his loyalty to the program. And that kid would have to go out and throw for 400 yards and lead them to an undefeated season, get them in the college football playoff. But before I think most Georgia fans would actually lighten up and say, okay, all right. But you know what I'm saying?
Dominic, this is a college football channel, sir. I don't know what else to tell you. I can't make everybody happy. To tell me that all I ever talk about is other teams, first of all, that's ridiculous. I talk about every team. That's the way it's been for 3 years on this channel. 3 years. I talk about what's relevant in college football. Sorry.
We did.
Standard.
We did talk about Clemson at the very beginning of the show, and what was there? I mean, as two fun-loving Clemson fans, what is there to talk about? We beat a military school.
By the way, breaking news, Dominic. Clemson's not playing this week. You want me to talk about how they're not playing? How interesting of a show would that be? Moving on to another team that's not Clemson. A&M Vanderbilt. That's another one that we're not going to talk about because it's no good. There's not a lot of good games this week in the SEC. And I think that the reason they did this is it's understandable the way that they scheduled them, because what have we seen in the other conferences, the Big 12 and the ACC? Teams coming out slow. A lot of these teams didn't have spring ball, and they had very limited contact and practice during the fall and all that in summer. So I think they're doing some of these matchups on purpose, just so some of these they don't want everybody to go out there and blowing their knee out So yeah, Bama, Missouri, not interesting. I mean, I guess it's interesting if you're an Alabama fan, right? But I mean, they'll win that game by 50 points if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible.
I saw a reach on one of the SEC network shows where one of the 14 blinds that used to be a beauty pageant contestant they've hired to talk to guys was interviewing Mac Jones. And look, I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I think that Bryce Young's going to end up taking this over. It will be Bryce Young's job to lose because the Bama fans don't buy into Mac Jones. True Bama fans, the majority of them, whether they're right or wrong, don't buy into Mac Jones. And so I think we should set a clock and set a bet, if anything, on Bama football for when Mac Jones is pulled. Now, I could be totally wrong, and if I am, won't be the first time. Ask my wife, ask family members. They'll tell you I've been wrong several times. But I think the clock, we should set it and see when Mac Jones is pulled.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing too. Quarterback situation. And if this gets to be a blowout, we might get to see old Bryce come in there and see what he looks like. Let's see here. Oh, this one's interesting. This is outside of there's two interesting ones. Outside of the one I'm interested in, which is South Carolina and Tennessee, is Florida and Ole Miss. And there's two reasons this is interesting. One is because of the hype that Florida's getting this year, from outside or from the media, especially. And then, of course, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. I mean, this is must-be TV here, isn't it? Dan Mullen versus Lane Kiffin.
Would you not like to go on vacation with Lane Kiffin to see exactly what it's like? I mean, forget sports. It has to be like a lot of fun. And he's probably the entire time looking to see if his wife or whatever is around before he does what he does. Or if anybody's rolling a cell phone. I think that Lane Kiffin would be a lot of fun to hang out with. That he is going to do what he's going to do and try to use what talent they have at Ole Miss to get at Florida. But I've said this for a while. Florida, this is yours to lose this year. This season is yours to lose. Georgia does have a lot of talents that always do. But they always do. Georgia always has talent. It'll be an interesting game just because of the dynamics of Lane Kiffin.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that game.
It'll be fun.
Auburn and Kentucky, another team that's being hyped up by everybody. I don't know if you watched my show with Mark Rogers yesterday.
I didn't get to see it.
You got to go back and watch this. He's going to say something that's going to make your head explode.
Mark
Rogers.
Really?
He's picking Kentucky to win the SEC East.
Really?
That was my reaction.
I don't know if Mark will see this video. I love Mark to death. But I don't know what he knows that I don't know, man. I mean, I just don't buy it, man.
Ahead of Florida and Georgia. And to make it better, he said there was going to be a 3-way tie in the East and Kentucky would win the tiebreaker. How did he say? 3-way tie. I think he was saying everybody was going to be 8-2 and that Kentucky would have the tiebreaker against Georgia. I don't know. First of all, the scenario is crazy in itself that they're all three going to go 8-2. I guess it's possible.
So he sees some slipping up. It's not a thing of, we're going to come out here and just dominate. He sees some slipping up. That's basically what he says.
And he's not playing with my mind. He's playing with his own mind, apparently. I have nothing to do with that. But anyway, I thought that was funny. And he was serious too. I thought he was kidding for a minute, but he's serious about it. Of course, it's just a prediction, but it's an out there prediction to say the least. But Auburn and Kentucky, everyone's high on Kentucky this year.
I don't know, man.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be close, Bobby. I mean, I maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, man. Kentucky's going to have to show me. I'll put it that way. Kentucky will have to show me. I've seen years before that I felt like maybe Kentucky was turning the corner and they go out and they embarrass themselves and vice versa. I want to see them show me. Hey, if you want to show me, that's fine. I mean, go for it. I mean, you're on the field, you're playing, you do your thing and show me. I just don't buy it, man. I just don't buy it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kyle, Country Tiger says not sold on the Gators. They may be better than I think, but unsure. That seems to be the I feel the exact same way. I think they're going to be good. I think losing Jamie Newman opened the door for Florida to possibly maybe be the best team in the East on both sides of the ball. Before I'm pretty sure Georgia's going to have a better defense, but I'm not sure about that offense. I'm sure that Florida's offense is at least going to be decent, and they got some playmakers. They got some NFL players on that offense now. And Kyle Trask isn't terrible either. He's not Trevor Lawrence or anything, but no one is.
I always go back to a guy who plays one season, and he sneaks up on a lot of people, even if he gets 8, 9, 10 games in. But you're in that season, and you have coaches, and you have whoever's breaking down the footage of the videos, and they still have such a short amount of time to get ready for a player, even 2 or 3 weeks away. Okay, I get that. But it's always interesting to see how a player does who's a breakout player like Trask, comes out of nowhere in a second season. Because guess what? We now have an entire season of you playing football. And we have an entire off season of sitting and watching you and breaking down. Because if Florida's on your schedule, Florida's one of the biggest teams you're going to play this year. Whether forget the fandom, we're talking about coaches. They're one of the biggest teams that you're going to play this season. So, of course, you're going to focus on how to isolate, break down, whatever, throw different looks at the quarterback. And so you're going to see – we even saw it with Trevor, the great Trevor Lawrence. You're definitely going to see that with Kyle Trask. How will that guy respond? That's really what I go back to. How will he respond to guys getting time to sit in the offseason and break down every move he makes?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Kentucky going 10-0, says SEC Dog. And I know he's kidding there. RMF tied. Kentucky has a good defensive line, and Auburn is replacing all 5 offensive linemen. Kentucky's offensive line is pretty good. Also Auburn, I think they have Auburn's known for having a great defensive line every year. So that's probably not going to change. And usually great running backs now, or at least really good ones. I don't even know who was starting at Auburn for running back this year. I think they have a bunch of guys who never have started before.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean any of them can't be good. Maybe they are. So I think Vegas had them at 8-point favorite, which I thought was low. I think they're going to win by more than 8, but I mean, it's just everywhere I look, people are telling me how good Kentucky's going to be. So we'll see.
As I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Auburn is also this is a really difficult game to try to predict, because how many times has Auburn supposed to be good and they blow it? And then how many times did Auburn come in and into a game, let's just say in the season, they lost 2 games you couldn't even explain. It's like, explain this to me. You can't explain it. Then they turn around and beat somebody. So I'm just saying, I see Slim Shady Cats. I see you, buddy.
Mike 3883 says, "Where's Snell?" He's talking about Benny Snell from Kentucky. He said, "Oh wait, I'll tell you where he is. He's losing me FanDuel contests. That's what he's doing. He had negative 1.5 points for me last week." So,
Benny Snell.
Yeah. Slim Shady says, "Bobby done bumped his head. Florida is not that good of a team." Of course he's going to say that. Slim Shady's feeling real good about himself right now. Because we didn't have the show last week, but I said that Louisville was going to beat Miami.
I said that Louisville was going to beat them the week before with you.
Everybody did. Hell, they were favored.
Yeah.
But of course, he told me about 18 reasons why I was wrong, and to his credit, I was wrong. but I didn't even think Louisville was great or anything, but I didn't realize how bad that offensive line was. And the defense is, oh gosh.
It's awful. Although Louisville has one of the best onside kick schemes I've seen in quite a while. If you want to learn how to onside kick, and absolutely, I'm telling you, they were very, very close to coming back in that game. But I'll tell you this, Slim Shady and any other Canes fans out there, one of my favorite non-Clemson players is Brevin Jordan. And I've liked Brevin Jordan from day one since he signed with, I believe, out of Las Vegas with the Canes. If I am Miami, I don't care if he is in double coverage, and according to who the third person is in coverage, even triple coverage, I'm throwing to Brevin Jordan. I would love to have Brevin. I mean, I know we have the talent at Clemson. I would love to see Brevin Jordan line up in orange and white because he is that good. He's one of those players that you can easily see him on that 2001 team and go, yeah, he was one of the greatest of all time. And I believe that with Brevin Jordan.
Dennis Wilson, I love your trolling attempts, sir. This is just awful here, though. Miami beat Louisville so bad that Pigskin Pete went to bed and cut the stream short. No, I streamed for 5.5 hours. If that's a short stream, I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
You streamed for 5.5 hours?
Well, it was over 5 hours. So because I came on close to an hour before the game started, and that game went on for 4 hours. It was a long game. I don't know why. I think it was because of all the penalties. There was a couple of injuries too. That game was 4 hours long. Yeah. So yeah, I was on for a long time that night.
For anyone who has never streamed online, like this is an hour. We've been on for about an hour. It starts to get really, it can be really intense after about an hour. So kudos to you, my friend.
Yeah. I love doing those streams for those games. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it, Bobby. Or at least I recommend that you come hang out with me when I'm doing it anyway.
I'll just sit in the back and just do something stupid the entire time. Yeah.
All right. So it's been an hour. It is time to get off. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the people that donated as well.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Fanatic 21. It brings up a great point. Free Mark Rogers TV. You know what this is about? Well, I can't say what it's about. Bottom line is he's not uploading stuff on YouTube right now. That's all I can say.
I don't know, but Mark Rogers is fantastic at what he does.
Yes,
and he's a friend to all of us. That's one heck of a guy. One heck of a guy. And
I love talking football with him. He's a good guy too.
So I don't know the reason. I really don't. But we need more guys like Mark Rogers doing what he does.
I agree. So #free Mark Rogers. All right, guys. Last words, Bobby, before we go.
Glad to be back. Good to be hanging out with you and all you crazy people out there.
All right. I will see you guys tomorrow right here on this YouTube channel for the Wednesday night call-in show at 10 p.m. sharp. See you later.